We're Expat Immigrants.
Hi everyone, my name's Natalia and this is my voice. And my face.
Hello, my name is Kat and this is my voice and my face.
We're going to have to do a...
it just comes to me,
Does it? Maybe you should prepare it.
Oh, you have to be spontaneous. Don't you like that? People always say on the dating apps, I'm looking for someone spontaneous. Well, here I am, boys. Here I am.
You reminded me of those blind date. Here I am, boys. Here I am, lads.
Do you know what? I'm not actually on the dating apps. I don't want anyone that wants me to be spontaneous. I want a plan.
What do people want when they say someone's spontaneous? Really? Who's ever put that on a dating app?
Everyone.
And what are they thinking?
Yeah, someone that's just going to leave their job and home and leave the
landlord.
Let the landlord wait for his rent just travel the world.
What does spontaneity... Exactly. What does spontaneity look like in this day and age?
There's all these people, they're just watching our teen movie and they're just filled up to the brim with romance. They're like, yeah, spontaneous. We could just go horse riding. Horseback riding.
Speaking of, our last episode was the teen movie, and that was a few weeks ago, guys. And so I just want to also say that we're behind the scenes. We've got a lot of logistical things going on. So sometimes we can't show up every week when we want to, or every other week.
But do you know what?
Apologies for that.
We have been, since we started in 2020, we've been AWOL once. And then, so this is the second time in 4 years. That's good.
And
that's
we've been
good
able,
odds.
and then it's about 2 weeks. What would it be by the time we... 3... Yeah, it'll be the third week.
So this is good recording, you know?
It's good,
oh,
but
no, it's not good.
Well, the thing is, my benchmark is the Receipts podcast, okay? And I love the Receipts girlies, love them, been inspired by them. They never missed a week.
They don't miss a trick.
They don't miss. They
deliver.
They deliver. And they only took a break when Audrey had a baby and then had a sort of mat leave. Yeah, maternity leave. And so that's my benchmark. And I'm like, God, they're so consistent. And it's so hard to be consistent. So props to anyone who can do week by week. The thing is that we are in different cities and we're in different places and... So much. So we do try our best to get you to stay on schedule, which is bi-weekly. But sometimes, occasionnellement, guys, occasionally, it doesn't work out like that. De temps en temps, it don't work out like that. Okay? So forgive us. Forgive-nous.
Pardonnez-nous.
Pardonnez-nous. Toutes mes excuses, man.
Toutes mes excuses. Come back again. Toutes mes excuses.
Only real ones will know about toutes mes excuses.
Yeah, toutes mes excuses. That's what you got to say. I'm prepared to say toutes mes excuses to anyone I've ever offended. Well, I'm just like... So, anyway, look, we're back. We're at Mum's house in the UK and we're back together. Yeah! All right. So, today we've been thinking about a subject that I think a lot of people who decide to live abroad thinks about. Or people who even have contemplated or semi-entertained the idea of perhaps moving abroad. I think the first thing that comes to mind is how am I going to do it? What will I do for work? Yeah, how are you going to make that money to support yourself? We need it.
We need it, cash, man. We need the cash money. We need it to rain.
Exactly.
whilst we're in Spain.
We need the spirit of abundance.
It won't stay mainly on the plane.
No.
It will stay mainly in our pocket.
Exactly.
So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We've kind of sort of brainstormed a few ideas. First of all, little disclaimer to say, guys, that this is just ideas from our brains. Okay, and that we kind of looked up some stuff as well, but this isn't financial advice. This isn't legal advice. This isn't tax advice. Okay, do your research.
And due diligence is what we say.
Do your due diligence. Make your own research, but maybe you can kind of take inspiration from this episode.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what that's what we'd like. So we made a few notes. Where it is my note then? So moving abroad
and work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should we sing a little bit of work, 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 work?
Sing it, Effie. Tell them, man, to...
No. See, and that works in any language. Yeah.
Travail. Trabajo. Right. The first thing I put down when I'm sort of brainstorming this, I was thinking about people who work for international companies.
You got the hookup already.
You man there with your international hookup company.
Yeah, with a little office in Paris.
International company hookup, sorry.
Office in Madrid. Office in Frankfurt. Office in New York City, baby.
Oh my gosh. Tokyo.
Not just Europe. We always talk about Europe, but
yeah.
We could go across the world.
You know.
Sydney,
Tokyo, Abuja.
Yeah, nice.
Anywhere you want. So I think, first of all, for people who are joining the workforce or looking to go to another job, maybe have a look at companies who have offices all around the world.
Yeah.
All around the globe. Okay, that could be a first thing. But imagine you're someone who's already there in a company and you're starting to think, I want to leave this here in England, man, or leave this here wherever you're listening from. A bit of a cambio, a bit of a changement, a bit of a switch it up. So I think, I sort of looked online a bit to see how people do it, because I've never been in that position before. I've never really worked for a global multinational company, but maybe we can in the future get some interviews with people who have done that.
Yeah.
But what I can see, some of the notes that I've made, is that see if your company has places abroad and see if they are open to transfers.
Yeah.
I think the first thing is to talk to a manager, just check in with a manager that you are working with. I think maybe let them know maybe quite early, or maybe even during your appraisals and reviews, that you've got aspirations to live abroad and to work abroad.
Yeah.
I think that's something that, like, if your manager or people you work with know that you've got, your career projections and stuff like that.
And it might have been done before, so they might have a schedule for it. And they might be open. They might say... secondments abroad is possible. Maybe I'm just thinking on the top of my head.
Okay.
Maybe a secondment might be for a period of time.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking to change your life forevermore, 5+ years, that may not be possible, but they may say, hey, listen, you can do your same role in Dubai, and then come back in a year's time.
That would be amazing. And what a kind of safety, kind of dip your foot into the situation, isn't it? And some workplaces help you to relocate. They've got relocation packages.
Yeah, they might set you up in an apartment for at least a month or so until you can find your own place. Sometimes they help you with language lessons. If you don't know the language, if there's another language, they might be able to support you with a couple of hours of language lessons every week.
Absolutely. So I think check in with your manager, speak with HR was another thing, I think, because also sometimes managers don't actually know.
They have to speak to HR.
Do you know what I mean? Because they would have to speak to HR. I feel like sometimes you get a manager and they don't know what the global sense of that particular office is, what and like what the landscape is. It's just because sometimes it can be just very like, oh, we work in this team and we deal with this.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? So like if there's like, I don't know, sometimes there's law firms that have branches in different countries, and so check out with HR what they say.
I know, that'd be awesome. I'm getting excited.
I'm getting excited for you guys.
Whoever you are, I'm excited for you. You're making a big multinational company.
In it. And another thing I've got with this multinational company thing, if you are able to go to that branch.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Trip, man.
Go on a work trip.
With the work expenses,
For work expenses, isn't it? And I remember I think it was when I was with CBS, and I did a work trip to somewhere in Spain, because I spoke to I went for a few days. It just come back to me now.
I don't even remember that.
Catherine, it just come back to me now. I went for like 1 or 2 days, and they had people who were building something to do with the London Underground advertising spaces, and they needed us to go over, just check and whatever, and they invited me to go.
And then did you have dinner?
Yeah, we had dinner. Tapas, and do you know what? The first time Catherine, the first time I ever saw this, we went to this lovely restaurant, and when we had finished like a course, the waiter came over and had like this little brush
to brush up, but then also like a
nice.
mini dustpan and brush for the table.
That was a posh restaurant.
Yeah,
oh my gosh! You need a company that has the budget
in it. No, none of this small company, no budget.
If your company has the budget, they put you up in a lovely hotel. They take you out for meals. Yeah. They do socials.
Company expenses, mate.
Oh, we love you.
So to say that, you know, maybe start talking with a colleague who's in that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, get the lowdown. Yeah. Like, if this is the branch that you want to go to, you want to go to the Hong Kong branch of what XYZ, right?
Yeah.
You might want to speak to a colleague who's already there.
Yeah, exactly.
And then do like a work trip
to
that branch and check it out. Because what if things are going on in that branch that you're not really happy about, like the photocopier? Who's in charge of the photocopier refilling? And it's got to be you sorting out the paper jams.
No, you just want to have a cultural experience that doesn't involve paper jams. My cultural experience does not involve
Are people even printing anymore?
That's what I'm thinking.
I haven't been in an office for so long. I've been working for myself.
But do you know what I'm saying? That people are just like, you know...
I was a paper jam queen. Can I just say? I was the queen.
Really?
Like, if there's a paper jam, you best believe I know how to sort
you just
it out.
open it up and everything.
Open the tin, get inside. I felt like a mechanic.
I just like pull it. No, I'm joking. I don't.
Felt like a mechanic cat. Like,
you should have been an engineer.
I feel like it. I feel like
she's very good. She's very handsy. She likes to put her hands to work.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say, I think I saw like a joke on Insta when it says, you know, we need to go to the office. That's where we do our printing. You know, when you've got things to do, that you use the office printer, don't you?
Catherine, way I used to print flyers for my band.
That is, 500?
No. But what I would do, I'd make it like A5.
And then cut it up
A5.
With the guillotine?
With the guillotine, everything. So, but I'd get like 4 flyers on an A4. So what is that?
4?
Yeah,
4 flyers?
Yeah,
A5.
So is that A5?
Yeah. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4.
So I'd get 4 flyers per one sheet. So it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, but how many did you print?
Yeah, like about 20 sheets.
No,
not 200, but like quite a few sheets of guillotine a thing and then hand it out.
Yeah,
and, next gig is
But did you use their good card paper? Or...
No, the standard 80 GSM.
That's what but we need to print. Sometimes I've been working at home for a long time. I've been working remotely, and sometimes you need to print something, so you have to email it to your mates who go to the office, and you just print. Like, do me a favour.
Okay, printers aren't even expensive.
I know.
Anyone at home printers are like 40 quid now.
I know.
Or 60 quid.
I know. I could have got that.
I know what you mean.
Sometimes, like, you know, when you travel, you like to use your boarding pass on your phone, but I don't like that business. Because my phone's let me down so many times. I don't have the top range phones, and I don't want one. I want the old phone. And like, imagine if I'm trying to board, and I'm like, oh, excuse me a minute, please.
Yeah.
No,
well, it never happens. But
it never happens. Tear me up, man. They say, no, who are ya?
So anyway, going back, visit that branch that you're thinking about. Visit that branch, right? I also got save up, because your company might have a relocation package, but also
you need money.
Like there's costs to moving abroad. Renting, like a deposit, and some countries are different. Like they might, I think in the UK, 1 month's deposit plus the first month's rent. Other countries might be different.
In some countries you've got to pay 12 months rent,
and 12 months rent. So save up and see and try and do some research about the company.
Exactly, the countries as well.
Also, be prepared that you might be taking a pay cut. That's something that's come up.
Yeah. Or a pay increase.
It depends on the local currency.
Yeah.
So what country you move to, what country.
Yeah.
So depending on the local currency, you'll probably likely get paid in the local currency.
Of course, yeah.
And then have a local bank.
Yeah.
So whatever your lifestyle is that you're used to. Adapt and just have that in mind.
Exactly.
Because you want to reduce the amount of shocks to the system.
Oh my gosh.
When you move, innit? Sometimes there's shocks to your system. You're like, what?
Innit?
Like, you're not only learning the transport, how to get to the office if you're working from an office. You're not only learning your way around, but then there's shock like, wait a minute, how much is this?
Isn't it?
Bagel?
And what about taxis? Some of the taxis different. Imagine going to Scandinavia, as much as I'd love to.
Yeah.
I might get paid more for, but they tax you high, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I should have told you what I'm talking about. The taxes.
Taxi. I thought you like
the tax. The tax.
What's she talking about?
You know how much
Taking
is the
a taxi
percentage?
like an Uber.
Yeah.
No,
the
black
tax.
cab. The tax. That is
I don't know,
my point.
Yeah, tax, man.
Be aware of the local currency and the tax that you have to pay.
Yeah,
now,
man.
like I said at the beginning, we ain't financial people.
Absolutely.
Right?
I need a financial person to come sit with me and say, Katie, what you doing here?
Yeah. I've got an accountant, and
You might want an
and you might
accountant.
want to get an accountant and to speak to a financial person in the country, or there might be a financial person who knows both your home
Yeah.
country and your
Adopted
country. Get in touch with those people and they can help you understand, because here's the thing, you might want to relocate for a very, very long period of time, or it might just be like a quick 1 year, 2
Yeah.
years, or 6 months,
Yeah.
and there may be tax implications.
exactly.
So talk with someone beforehand and see what they say and how
Exactly.
to like prepare yourself and set yourself up.
It's
so
so
that you're not
easy
gonna-
to get stung, you know?
It's
Just
easy
by
to get stung.
innocently picking up and moving somewhere else. It's so easy
Yeah,
to
you'd
get
think
stung.
that you could just go, but sometimes you've got to think about the tax
Yeah,
implications.
definitely.
Katie, now let me talk to you about recruitment.
Hey,
You know that Katie works in recruitment.
you can follow me on LinkedIn, everybody, and when I make a post, you can like it, you can comment, you can share, you can say great insight. You know what I mean? Things like that.
Things like that.
Not like what you'd comment to me on Expat Immigrant page, which is like, hey
No.
girl, loving it. But you can say, wow, that is the most forward,
Insightful.
insightful, innovative approach,
Mm-hmm.
Katie. You know, I would appreciate you.
So, Katie, as a recruiter, you've recruited globally, haven't you? You don't
Yeah.
just recruit like British people.
You know, Katie, I don't just recruit British people. I recruit across Europe mostly. Across Europe mostly. And it is a joy to recruit across Europe. So what do you want me to start with?
So basically,
We're
like,
doing role reversal. Natalia's done more prep than me, isn't it? Usually it's me. I'm like looking at her notes. No, I'm joking. No, okay, so
well, the thing is,
recruitment.
I can ask you, like, how should people approach recruitment agencies if they've got a mind to wanting to be abroad?
So I very much strongly would advise a LinkedIn profile, especially if you have a kind of corporate role, even a scientific role. Get yourself on LinkedIn and really optimize your LinkedIn profile. Now, when you're looking for a job, you have to put so much effort, and sometimes like, I don't put so much effort, no one's going to look at it. And you're mostly correct, no one's going to look at it. But if it's great, it's going to serve you. If it's not great, you've wasted your time.
Yeah, you've said optimize your LinkedIn profile. How are some of the ways that people can optimize their LinkedIn profile?
You need a profile picture and I mean, I've done my profile picture. I don't really like it so much, but it is a selfie. But whatever you do, not in your car. You know,
Have people got pictures in
yeah,
their car?
I see it all the time.
Yeah, they've got pictures in your car,
people like on the move and stuff like that. So you know, get yourself a profile picture. Also, you've got the background picture as well. Even if you're not in work, you could just get one of those pictures that are royalty free.
Okay.
And you can put it on there, so it could be whatever you're interested in. It could be like,
I don't have a background picture.
get background picture, man.
Okay.
Get background picture, right? So you need that. You've got the opportunity to write a bio. So I mean, it's not.
Should the bio be like a cover letter, or is it more?
It could
like
be a little
bio
bit about you. Now, you can Google. There's loads of advice online, which is free, which would recommend how to write a bio, and they would even show you examples of good bios. So it depends what your purpose is. If it's just to share how great you are, then that's great. If it's to share what you're looking for, then you can include that. But you can also include personal things as well. So you could say, like I say, I'm a poet and a writer, and I say I've got the podcast, but it's kind of right at the end of my profile. So use it to sell yourself and to present yourself. Then you want to put your work history, your education history, you know, and you can put your dates on there. Some people don't like to put the dates on there. Just put the dates on there. Don't worry if you've got career gaps. That should be fine. In this day and age, a recruiter shouldn't really penalise you for having a gap. We've all got gaps in our CVs. Be active, man. I don't want to see... Listen, I have to be tough now because of my professional hat.
Okay. Right.
I don't want to see you have 15 connections on LinkedIn.
Oh, you
Please.
see that?
Because I'm like, this girl, this person, well, the type
It's like
of work,
MySpace, you know.
the type of work that I do, you know, I would expect somebody to use their LinkedIn, you know, as a networking, as someone who's keeping up with the trends and things that are changing, someone who's a bit business savvy. I would expect you to have a LinkedIn.
So what
profile.
sort of number are we talking about?
If you get over 500, then I don't know if you have 501 or 601 or, you know, 700. So it just says 500 plus, you know. So I would always say that's a perfect guide. Now, in LinkedIn, you don't have to know nobody.
I always feel awkward and weird, like, when I see people who add me, I'm like, who are you?
Exactly.
Like, no, man, I just
personal
leave
thing.
it in.
Like,
Should I just accept everyone?
yeah, well, you know, if it makes sense, but mostly yes. And also
okay.
you should approach people, even CEOs. I don't see why not. Even CEOs. I mean, they might not accept you. You've got an opportunity to write a note when you make a request. It's got limits. You can't write, you know, War and Peace. And don't be like, oh, CEO, can you look at my profile? You know.
Don't do
but
that.
you might want to say, oh, I'm really interested in the finance sector and fintech, and followed what you do or something, and or just enlarging. Sorry, I've got my French words in my head, but I'm just, you know, broadening my network, or I'm networking. And most people, I think, accept.
Yeah.
Only if you're really not a match, or if they've got too many anyway. Because I think if you've got too many
Then it has
followers,
to be follows.
yeah.
Rather than
Or
personal connection.
actually, you can follow people as well. And so I would say, to optimize your LinkedIn profile, you want to be following more than 500 people. And then you want to be a little bit active. And I know, you know, what you're going to post about. You know what I mean?
I love your posts.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I try to post maybe twice a week. And I have an idea of the subjects I'm going to post about. So I work in a science recruitment. So I might work on science and STEM. So science, technology, engineering and maths. Sometimes women in those spaces. Sometimes black women in those spaces. And then all the things I'm interested in. So I post about nature, creativity, dance and languages. And there's a place you can put your hashtags which says what you're interested in. But if you're interested in more things like you know, diversity or I don't know, career change, you can put anything at all. And then I just have some Google alerts. So I just put some Google alerts
For interesting articles.
Yeah, within creativity, nature, science, and a bit of a combination. And so once a week, because I don't want to be emailed daily, they'll just send me all the articles around the world.
Good. I don't have any Google alerts.
You have Google alerts, or you have the publications that are reliable, so scientific publications for me. And I just look, and I'm not going to share anything that doesn't interest me. So sometimes if I don't share, it's because I've not found anything that's of interest to me. But if I find it interesting and I can add a few things, then you send it. Then you can see what works. You can see how many impressions you make. People might start to comment, you know, and you can also comment on other people's posts and share posts as well.
Brilliant.
So I feel like if you've got a bit of activity behind, now if you are top dog, you know, you're finance director, okay, you're top, right? I may forgive you for not being active on thing because your credentials speak for yourself. But if you're kind of climbing up and you want to show a bit of pizzazz, then have a bit of activity behind you.
And what about targeting kind of companies that you might want to work for?
You can do it. You can do it. You can target companies you want to work for. If you know their name, you could just Google actually, and then make a list. Follow the company page. If you want to stand out, you can probably comment on their post. Maybe you could connect with the recruitment team, talent acquisition, recruitment, anything like that. You can look at HR.
So are you looking for individual people who work for that company and their job title is talent acquisition?
Yeah, or recruitment specialist. Yeah. You can just, when you go to the company page, you go to people and then you just type recruitment or HR or talent acquisition. They come up. You see them, if you like the look of them, and if you think they might be nice to you, because sometimes you could tell on their photos.
Oh!
No, but the thing is, first impression is the last impression, you know? So sometimes you look and you just think, would this person help me out if I just message them? Now, I get messages all the time, you know, people say, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that. And I tend to respond to all my messages. Some people I can't help, you know, because it's not my sector. And some people I can. Sometimes when I've got extra time, I help people. I send them links. I say, you know, I've sort of looked at people's profile and I'll say what I've just said. You might want to put a profile picture up there, darling, because I don't want to do business with an an unknown person. You know, so and then I might just, if I've got time, sometimes I've got time to help people, I just share them a link. You know, LinkedIn's got lots of advice on how to use LinkedIn. And another thing before we move away from LinkedIn, you have the open to work banner. So you can put the banner which would have that green open to work, and you can set job alerts there as well. But LinkedIn's not the only place to look for jobs. There's like loads of remote working job boards. There's just other specialist job boards. Indeed is probably around the world. There'll be an Indeed Germany, Indeed France. I quite like Indeed.
What about reaching out to these talent acquisition people and saying, I'm based in the UK or another country and I'd love to know about, you know, would you be open to hiring from another country?
Yeah, you could do. You could do. Yeah, recruitment consultants, they could do that. I've had people say that to me, like, oh, I'm going to move in a year and a half. So I might be like, okay, cool. But come back to me like 4 to 3 months. So you got to work out what the runway is. I think definitely prepare in advance, try to get as much information. But if you want a recruiter to work on your behalf, I can't always say, look, this guy's great, but he's available in 2026. You know what I mean? Like, girlfriend. You know, like at least give me minimum
3 months.
Minimum 3 months. Yeah, minimum 3 months. But it depends how many clients people have. Brexit, you know, that always comes back and bites us in the derriere. You know, we don't like this Brexit business because it's tougher now for a British person.
Brexit.
It's tougher now for British. But sometimes I speak
British, listen up. It's tougher now.
Sometimes I speak to, you know, our Caucasian Brits and they talk about how they want to relocate. And I say, have you looked into your ancestry? You're not got Irish. You're not got Irish in your ancestry because, you know what? The amount of people that were applying for the Irish.
Yeah, do it, man.
The Irish passport. They had a
so that you are European,
exactly.
For anyone who doesn't know, so that you are European and you can still have access to the European job market.
Yeah.
Because what it is that as a British person now, we're considered, or we are out of the European Union.
You're third class or third rate, is it something like that, you know?
Was it third class or third rate?
Third rate, man, you're down.
Well, the fact is, like in Europe, I think like sometimes when you're going for jobs, you have to give first dibs, I suppose, or consider people from your country first, and then the European Union, and then other world. Yeah. Then the rest of the world. Basically.
Essentially, you're going to need work sponsorship, and if you're like me, a recruiter. I mean, you know, I'm a good recruiter, but there are gazillions of recruiters. So what makes me a better recruiter than a recruiter that's already based in Germany with the rights to work in Germany? Because for your company to apply for sponsorship, they have to prove that I'm the best.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the population of German recruiters, then they're going to say, oh, we're going to employ Katie because she's special.
Yeah. Well, that's the issue that I sort of had because I was coming from the UK, my experience, I had like creative experience outside of like the 9-to-5 work, and my 9-to-5 was a PA, personal assistant. So I worked with barristers and I worked in the Bank of England. And then going into, so I live near Switzerland, so a lot of the workforce in the part of France that I live in work in Switzerland. And so in France and Switzerland and post-Brexit, it was just like, how am I going to say I'm the exemplary, the best ever personal assistant to get this work? Because, you know, no matter how much they might like me and I'm good at my job, there's hundreds of personal assistants. There's so many, like, that's like the job you do.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like you can train someone very easily to be a PA. Like you've got some really good PAs. I was a really good PA, if I do say so myself. But at the same time, in terms of like career, there's loads.
Yeah.
So I was not ever gonna be on someone's top pile.
Exactly.
How would they
Because
then
there's a cost to
verify?
the company.
Yeah, exactly. How would they justify employing me
over
somebody who's local and at a cost to the company?
Yeah, exactly. Now, if you're a specialist, you know, if you are the top, if you've got PhD status or whatever, you've done an MBA, you are the top, then this might not affect you, because you can go as a specialist, as someone real top. They can't find those skills in their home country, but it is very
something
challenging
to think about. Like if you are still studying, and maybe consider go for a PhD in your area or some sort of specialism. I think because now I'm in a creative field, I can say that I am special because I've got different specialist stuff and experiences that not a lot of people, and I've got a portfolio, so not a lot of people have what I've got. So, you know, in those sorts of terms.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so your company, if you are lucky enough to be sponsored, they might sponsor you for a year, maybe a bit longer. So you might have to just take that into consideration if you want to go away for 5 years, for example. But because there's a cost implication and they don't really know you, they've not seen your work in they haven't seen evidence of it, so they might say let's sponsor you for 1 year. You know, and then you've always got that, you know, will it be renewed and stuff like that.
I wonder if like once you're out there, you can then sort of transfer. Sometimes when you get a visa, now guys, like ask
this
for
is
advice.
What we know from
but this
here.
is what I've heard. I'm pretty sure like sometimes you can get like a working visa through one company and, you know, work with them, and then once you're there, you've got this visa, and so you might be able to renew it and then work for another company or something like that.
I've got a brilliant idea. Natty said if you're studying, right, listen. Natalia said when we talked about PhDs, consider, and I wish I
know what you're going to say. Yeah, go on, go.
Consider studying abroad. Consider studying abroad now. So we know a lot about France, but I'm sure loads of other countries are brilliant. Their university rates are a fraction of what we pay in the UK. So you're not going to have this $9,000 a year. Cost-wise. So you're not going to have like $9,000 or whatever it is in the UK. Even like a master's program. I believe in France, you could probably study a master's for about $4,000 a year. You know what I mean? Once you study, say for example, if you study in France, then after your university course, you have got a window where you've got time to find work. It's not like they boot you out.
That's good.
You've got maybe a year or two or something. Again, you know, do your research. But so you'll have your student visa, and then you'll have like some sort of conversion visa, and that gives you time, because they're actually quite good to the people that they educate.
Yeah.
You know, if you've got a French degree, then they will give you the time to try to search for the right role for you and begin your profession or to specialise. So that would be a good... That might be a good idea. So I don't want to go too much into what I've been doing, but I was the other day looking at some master's courses abroad, and I found a course that I liked in Holland, I think, in Germany, and I was looking in France as well. But then, unfortunately, one of the courses was like a part-time course.
Okay.
And they said in their notes, they said, if you don't have the rights to work in Europe, so we don't now after Brexit, you won't be given the right visa. You can't get a student visa on a part-time course. It was either Germany or Holland. So you've got to work out if it's full-time or part-time. But I think that'll be perfect. And do you know what I think, Natty? Studying abroad is perfect because you'll have classmates, you'll have that structure, you have that routine. Yes, you may have friends. Workmates when you have a job, but I don't think workmates hang out together as much as classmates are forced to do, because you might have to work together on something or share notes, you know. So if you're of that studying arena, consider studying abroad.
That's
man, you can't go to US or Canada.
You can't go to Canada or USA.
Listen, man, they're like 58,000.
Yeah, allow it.
Man, and you are always paying that fee back.
Yeah.
And you're paying that
unless
fee.
you get a scholarship.
Oh yeah, scholarship.
Like our Forest.
Yeah, scholarship. How else is he gonna go?
Basketball scholarship, people.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kat, I think that's amazing. I think that's a really, really good point.
Yeah.
Like studying abroad, look to do that because that's a great foot into another country.
And you might be able to stay and you build your networks.
It's been in the news a lot. Digital nomad visas as well. Digital nomad. Do your research on that because there are tax implications, I believe. For that lifestyle. So you've got to figure out what is involved, but definitely there are some countries who offer.
Do you know who was one of the first countries in during COVID?
Yeah,
Barbados.
Can I come in?
Yes, come in.
You can come in.
Do you need to come in? We're recording. Someone's doing Mum's thermostat.
You're going to do it.
She wanted to introduce it to us. Like, I don't think he needs to come in.
Who's going to put it in here?
Do you know one of the first countries to offer digital nomad visas during COVID?
Oh,
Barbados.
Barbados!
And I was like, it makes sense to me to be doing my digital remote work by the beach.
I know.
The playa.
La playa, la plage.
Oh my gosh.
Honestly,
You
I
can go
think
all over the world with digital nomad visas. And I
yeah.
think it would be very helpful for us Brits now after COVID.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
sorry, after Brexit. Yeah, it's really... So digital nomad, it allows you to work. So you've got the legal rights to work in a country. But I believe your work has to come from outside that country. So if you're already a freelancer and you've got... networks and relationships with clients outside of, let's say if I go to Portugal, then my money has to come from outside of Portugal.
Right, okay.
I won't be able to have a Portuguese company be my full-time employer.
Okay.
Maybe
okay.
that I might be able to get a percentage of that, maybe 20%.
Yeah, we've got to.
So you've got to really look
at.
at, but those people who are working independently and freelancing already, so perfect.
And there might
way.
be a limit on how long you can stay in each place.
Yeah.
And you might have to just like hop around or something, but certainly that is one way of doing it.
Some people are making a life out of that. It's incredible. And those people who are doing that, I salute you. I'm a little bit envious, I just think that's a perfect way that you're living your life.
Amazing.
Bravo and chapeau.
There's places or there's those sort of seasonal work stuff.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yes.
So like there's
Farming?
Farming, agriculture work. I think like New Zealand does a lot of that sort of thing. So maybe look into doing seeing what a country needs.
Yeah.
And then responding to that.
Do you know the other day, Canada's always looking for people.
Is it?
Canada is always looking for people. When my friend emigrated to Canada from the UK, she literally had her right to work, her visa, everything all sorted out here before she went. They're always looking for people. And I saw...
What sort of jobs?
I think all jobs, but definitely land work, agriculture work probably. But I think all jobs... I think maybe all jobs. I think it's quite easy to get papers to work in Canada.
Yeah, well, check it out. Check out Canada. Check out anywhere. I mean, I think as well, we have to mention, if you're British, you're watching this, maybe Americans as well, but like teaching English is one of those, that's like tried and true, man. I feel like teaching English, I feel like you can even get to a country and then set yourself up as teaching English. Yeah. I feel like you can find TEFL courses within a country and you study your TEFL or your CELTA whilst you're there.
You have to lean into that English skill. Lean into that English because you can go
and you
go
take
anywhere.
For granted that it's your mother tongue. And even for people who it's not, if they're high level in English, they can still have the opportunity to teach English.
Yeah, exactly.
But sometimes you just take for granted that it's, and sometimes when I think, okay, I need money, I there was times when I was just like desperate. I really needed to get some income in. I was just like, teach English.
You have to.
You have to. English, mate.
I'd recommend a TEFL course. I did a TEFL course. There's so many. So again, you've got to research what is great for you. But it is a very structured way of teaching your language. Because even if you know your language, I don't think I always know why. Why is it such? Why is the grammar like that? And what is it actually called? And what does it actually mean? And the beauty about the way they teach you to teach English is not how we learnt foreign languages, where we were really kind of given the kind of stimulus and things and what to say. You're really eliciting and drawing it out from the student, and it's actually quite a nice methodology and approach to teaching. I've also got a PGCE, so when I look at the difference, they're really, just drawing it out of you rather than presenting it to you, and it's a very nice, way to teach.
I never did my TEFL. I had experience from the British Council teaching as a language assistant, so I was teaching English, and they gave us like a kind of training, but it wasn't like an official thing. And then just through experience, I learned how to teach English.
And you'll have to weigh it up whether the TEFL can get you further.
I think
or whether,
definitely for people, if you're going to just start out now, definitely do the TEFL. I was sort of lucky in the sense that I had the British Council as a good reference point, as a bar, but I don't think not everyone can do it, especially if you're older. So definitely maybe a TEFL would be, because I did British Council when I was still at uni.
And did we say what TEFL was?
TEFL is teaching English as a foreign language. And the CELTA is the Cambridge version of that. And that, I feel like CELTA, people say CELTA is like the top kind of thing. So, and they have their own, Cambridge English is known throughout the world as the kind of elite, like if for language learners of English, like if they took Cambridge English exams, they're like really, that's the one. So have a look at that, guys. Have a look at that. So just going back into like different places, different countries having different needs, and you might be able to fulfill that. So that kind of leads me on into kind of maybe thinking about, you might have to have a career pivot. You might be ready in it.
I love that.
You might be ready anyway to change careers. A good time could be when you're moving abroad. Like just start fresh. Start. Nobody knows you.
Exactly.
Nobody. You've got transferable skills from whatever you were doing before.
You never belittle those transferable skills.
But here's the thing. Sometimes, Kat, it's done as in you are leading it. You want to change careers. You want to do the thing. Other times I have to mention, because I feel like I found myself a bit in this situation whereby I was a trailing spouse, like coming to another country through my partner getting a job in another country. So I feel like there's a lot of people who are trailing spouses, and I want to just like big up yourself, because it's not easy. Because when you're in that position, you've got effectively one partner who's got the job, who's got all the setups, got the network, and then you're like, okay,
what do I do? You have to
what
start
do I
from
do?
zero.
And sometimes, like in my position, there wasn't a lot of creative jobs around, and there wasn't a lot of PA work that I could do for the aforementioned reasons, and so I found it quite difficult to jump right in. And so I feel like, and I was meeting a lot of people who were trailing spouses who were like, okay, so now I'm this and now I'm that, and these are like careers that they'd never even think for themselves to do. If they stayed at home,
they wouldn't be doing it.
They wouldn't probably be doing it. And so there's those people who, like, for whatever reason, they just have to survive and have to like just find work. And there's people who like, hey, take this as an opportunity. I've always wanted to change. I got in a rut back home and now I want to do something else. So think about, and I think like whatever camp you come from, you're probably going to arrive at the same junction, which is how to make it work, like career pivoting. Like I'm going to do something completely different.
Yeah, definitely.
And how am I going to make it work and put it in a positive light,
definitely.
you know?
Yeah, that's awesome. That's
yeah.
awesome,
So there you go, really and truly. What else?
I've got one thing to say. I don't know if you've got my notes down there.
I see now.
Yeah, but we talked about planning, but I just want to go up to one point. So I've talked about culture. So you're moving to a new country, even if they speak your language, the culture may be different. And I've done a lot of work in offices, even schools, you know. sometimes the culture is very different, and it's interesting to maybe, if you can, get a bit of an idea of what that culture might be. Now, my housemate in Paris, she lent me a book called The Culture Map by Erin Meyer, and it's a really good book because it talks about how different cultures work. So we're in England, as you know, we like to have a little chat, everyone go together, cup of tea, have a bit of a water. You might move to a place where they're like, oh, that is you not being as effective and productive as you could be. You know, that's not seen as a little like. You know, if you build in relationships with people, I might tell you about, you know, it's my anniversary today and I'm going to go out with my partner. But other people might be like, overshare. We're work colleagues, you know. So it's really interesting because sometimes you could be qualified for the job you do, but even she talks about the way you give back feedback. Now, you know, in England we have the kind of the shit sandwich methodology. So you start with a positive, you put the little smelly bits in the middle, and then you end with the positive. Some people just give you the smelly bits, you know, but then they don't expect you to take it personally. They might give you the smelly bits in a meeting and then said, okay, we're all going out for drinks today, and you're crushed. You've just been like told to improve yourself, and then you're gonna, you know, socialise. Or maybe in some countries, bosses wouldn't socialise with their you know, team. Or maybe it's really... So it's interesting, I think, and that's what I've learned living in France. Though, you know, I've got a good grasp of the language and I'm happy to be there, sometimes it's these little things of culture. For example, I remember when I used to work in the UK, and my Spanish colleague, she would always say, oh, God, every time I write an email, I have to say, hello, Natalia, I hope you're well. She goes, why do I have to say that?
I hope this email finds you well.
Yeah, well, I hope this email finds you well. Now, when I work across Europe.
There's that meme, like, how this email found me.
Yeah, exactly. When I work across Europe, if I know I'm speaking to a German, a French, a Dutch person, I don't ever say, I hope you're well. I say, hi, David.
Straight to the point.
But then there's other cultures. So I get sometimes people from, let's say, India messaging me, and they're really nice. They say, I hope that this email and your family is in good health.
Oh, wow.
I said, well,
that's nice.
Bless the Lord, you know.
Amen.
Amen. But, you know, it's not necessary to go, like in England, you wouldn't say, I hope, you
your
know,
family.
your family and you had a lovely weekend. And, you know, but, so it's just differences, which is very interesting. But don't take things to heart necessarily if it's different. You might just learn that is the way. You know, maybe they're more transparent, or maybe they're more direct, or maybe they're less open to begin with, and they build trust and then they open up. So, but that's just the joy of moving abroad and learning about some other
exactly. Like and then the thing is, do you know what is one of the best things is when you finally get the culture, or like the work-life culture, as well as the outside, you know. But like when you feel part of it, like you know,
and you could speak the same way. Like I remember when I was working with my French colleagues, and just the way that, you know, you'd like say someone would give them information. Like, c'est clair, which means it's clear. Like you don't have to go on.
Say less.
Yes. But the professional version. You know, so clear, you know, so I'll be ready to give them an explanation of all my work. And I said, oh, well, I've done this, and then that turned out, so clear, and then you just have to stop. But in England, I think we go on and on because we like to say all the little things we do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Little things for a big praise.
Well, she does.
I love to be praised.
She loves a pat on the back. You're wonderful.
Also, I wanted to say, when you're looking at job posts, I recommend, and they always say this, apply. Yeah. Even if you feel you're not 100% match, most people aren't. You know, because a job description is like, oh, in the best case, this is the perfect match. But people who are not perfect matches get offers. You know, so apply. And they always say women and maybe people of the global majority maybe do not apply because they feel like, okay, I'm not a match for this. But apply 100%. Anyway. Apply. if you feel that you've got transferable skills and but it might not be clear, maybe you can write a cover letter. Now I know that's extra work. Maybe you can write a cover letter.
I thought you always write cover letters.
Not all the time. Not all the time.
Really?
You don't have to. And I know the arguments why people don't like to do their CV and they don't like to do their LinkedIn and they don't like to do their cover letter is that no one looks at it. And to be true, there are statistics out there. Like if you've got a recruiter who's looking at your CV, we are scanning it. We're not looking at it in depth. But like I said before, you need to put the work in because there might come a time when I need to look at it. In my role, if I've got like, I don't know, well, I'll go and look at my advertisements and I've got maybe 80 applications. I'm not really going to be reading your thing. I need it to jump out of me. Are you a yes? Are you a no? There are times when I might look at a CV and be like, I don't know, so I'm going to leave it. But if your CV is all sparse, then I look at your LinkedIn page and you've got nothing on there. I know which direction you're going. You know what I mean? So do the work, apply, get the supporting things, and actually your CV is probably, the further along you go along the process, the more in depth your CV is going to be read.
Yeah.
I'm like the first line, but some recruiters like me, I consider things like a funnel. I'd rather speak to more people and then I'll just filter them through. So sometimes I would. Basically, you want the recruiter, if it's a recruiter, to think, is this person worth talking to? And that could be because you're an exact fit, a close fit, or not a close fit, but there's something about your profile. Maybe I need to find out information from you. You know, I might need to. I need to know what exactly your industry or something you might be able to tell me because I need to understand the market. And then if you're not good for this role for me, you might be good down the line.
Role.
Yeah,
exactly.
So do apply. It's hard.
Yeah,
because you have to. It's like a numbers game, isn't it? You have to apply to loads, and it takes a long time finding work.
I just had a thought as you were talking about another point, something completely different. But I was remembering one of my favourite shows. I think I've even mentioned it on the podcast, like season 1. Remember that Homes Down Under?
Oh yeah.
Is it called Homes Down Under or like Life Down Under? Yeah. There's always a point in that show where they meet a potential job, like in the industry that they're in.
Yeah.
Isn't it? They have meetings with someone in the industry and they sit down and say, okay, well, I've looked at your CV and with your thing, you could probably come in at this level.
Yeah.
You could do this, you could do that. So what's stopping you from, if there's a country that you want to move to, maybe take a holiday there and beforehand just reach out to people in the industry and say, I'd love to have a coffee meeting with you. I'm from this country. Would you, know, I do this role. Would you have 5-10 minutes to speak with me about how the industry works here, how you got involved and And I'm sure maybe using LinkedIn to reach out to these people. And maybe you might be able to have like one person, one meeting or 2 or 3 lined up when you go to your holiday.
Yeah, that's a brilliant one.
Maybe that's an idea, you know. So just different ways of how you can work abroad and just kind of get the juices flowing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not, and the thing is, it's not impossible.
It's not impossible. Even I'm always talking about Brexit and it's hard for British people, but people all around the world are getting visas.
Yeah.
So you can get a visa.
Yeah.
You know, people, it's just a complication for us that we never had to deal with before, but it's not impossible.
Yeah, it's not impossible. And that's the thing. I recently, I'm just reminded, I saw a tweet. I actually responded to the tweet. A young black girl who was saying that, you know, London is or the UK is super hard and like really like what is it like to work abroad and maybe that's the answer. That I think that could be the answer for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think I saw a lot of responses going, well, it's not as good, you know, grass is always greener. Sometimes it is, guys. Sometimes it is, you know.
Also,
I feel like a lot of British people are scared to move.
Yeah.
I think that we're here to say it's doable.
Yeah.
You can do it, even if it's just to take a break from this here UK. Take a break, get away for a year and come back with a different mindset. Come back with a rejuvenated spirit. Come back with ideas. Because here's one thing, when you
there's something about like moving abroad, like you take all the things and the cool ideas that you got from home and you can implement in this new city or this new place, and then you can take what you learned from there and implement it over when you go back home and stuff. There's so much knowledge transfer
and
that
also,
can happen.
I think some people have that spirit that they need to go. Now, I have a particular friend who was a misery. You know, so if I was to say I want to go abroad, they might say, oh, why do you want to do it, and why do you want to? But sometimes you've got a calling within you to go, but you don't know because, you know, you've always lived in the same place, or you might have moved nationally but not internationally. But yeah, explore it. If you're already asking the question, I wonder if I go abroad. Now, don't put your rose-tinted glasses on and think it's going to be perfect, because it's not. And we've already talked about loneliness and making friends. There are difficulties there. But I would say living abroad, or even going abroad for an extended time, is one of the richest ways to develop you, to build you up, to lift you up, to prove that you are capable, to prove that you could actually function and even flourish in a new place without knowing anybody. You can rely on your own resources, build your resources. It gives you so much. And if you just compare the fear or the uncertainty of whether you should do it with everything you'll get in return. And also, I also think when you go abroad, you don't have to be like, okay, so now I live in France. Yeah, it might be 6 months, 8 months, 1 year, 2 years. You might come back sooner than you thought. You might live there for the rest of your life. You know, you don't have to make a decision that's going to dictate the rest of your life. And may the Lord give you a long life. You know, it could be for however long it's going to be, but you just take every day by day learning and growing. And it's the most blessed and beautiful way to grow.
Absolutely. So take this episode as encouragement. Take this episode as your sign to get thinking to move abroad.
Tell us about it. Take us with you.
If you are watching on YouTube, leave comments below and let us know, have you ever lived abroad? What are some of the steps that you took? What are some advice, things that you've not seen people talk about, something that we might have not spoken about? Leave your advice in the comments, share your knowledge, and that will be help each other out and inspire each other to take the leap to move abroad.
Bon.
Yes? Okay, I'm going to come and help you out with that. Boys here. This is our time to sign off. Guys, follow us on Instagram. It's at Expat Immigrant, and Kat's Instagram is
at Cat All That One,
and mine is at Tuneful TV. You can leave us DMs. Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Do it. You might not be able to go abroad and go
and then Sweet Caroline.
You might have to leave that at your home country. They might not respect that.
They might not like it. But guys, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share this episode with people that you know and love and that you think might find some use out of it. Follow us and subscribe on your podcast players as well, and leave us a review. That would be super helpful. 5-star reviews, that's all we want. And I will accept 4. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Merci beaucoup. Je vous aime.
Bonne continuation.
Bonne continuation.
Bye.
Ciao.